Hello children, today we shall look into what are carbohydrates. Hope you have understood the proteins. So one of the very good example of protein which is our silk. Silk is a protein and cotton is carbohydrate. With that in mind, I shall introduce you to carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are primarily produced by plants. So plants produce carbohydrates. Example, sugar which is present in sugarcane, lactose of milk, and starch which is present in wheat, rice, potatoes, etc. And cellulose which is present in cotton, what we use in the form of fabric. Earlier, they were called as hydrates of carbon, hence the name carbohydrates. Most of the carbs, I am going to use the word carbs in place of carbohydrates. So, most of the carbs obeyed the formula CxH2O-Y. It obeyed the definition hydrates of carbon. Hydrates refers to water. And formula is CxH2O-Y. When X and Y is equal to 6, we get C6H12O6, that is glucose. But later this formula was rejected. Now why it was rejected? Because non-carbohydrates, means which are not carbohydrates, example acetic acid, they obeyed this particular formula. Though it was a non-carbohydrate, it obeyed this particular formula. And few carbs did not fit into this formula, and few carbs did not fit into this formula. Hence, this formula was rejected, and this definition was also rejected. Which one? Hydrates of carbon. Now a new definition is given to carbohydrates. And what is that? Carbohydrates are optically active polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones, or the compounds which produce such units on hydrolysis. So we shall concentrate only on this. So how are they? They are optically active polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones. So which are the functional groups you can expect in carbohydrates? Hydroxyl group, aldehydic group, and ketonic group. So here the functional groups present in carbohydrates are OH, hydroxy, aldehyde, CHO, or ketone, C double bond O, or ketone. So in a carbohydrate you can have OH group, aldehydic, or a ketonic group. And how many hydroxyl groups are there? Poly. Poly means many. So there will be many hydroxyl group along with aldehydic group or ketonic group. You cannot have both aldehyde and ketone in a carbohydrate. If you have both together, then it is not a carbohydrate. Coming to classification of carbohydrates, they can be classified based on taste, based on their reducing nature, and based on the hydrolysis. And these can be asked for 2 marks in part B of the question paper. Okay. So based on taste, they are classified as sugars and non-sugars. Now you need to get 2 marks, so you have to write 2 differences. How are sugars? They are sweet to taste. They are sweet to taste, right? And how should be non-sugars? They are not sweet to taste, right? And what are the examples? This gives you 1 mark. And examples: cane sugar present in the candy. Regular sugar what we use at home is sweet to taste. And potatoes which we use at home, which contains starch, is a non-sugar. Done. Based on reducing nature. Earlier we saw based on the taste. Now based on reducing nature, carbohydrates are classified into two types: reducing sugars, non-reducing sugars. So what are reducing sugars? They reduce these two reagents, Tollin's reagent and Fehling's reagent. You need to remember these words. And these two reagents you have come across in the chapter aldehydes, ketones and carboxylic acids. So what do carbohydrates do? Some of them, which are called as reducing sugars, they reduce what? Tollin's reagent and Fehling's reagent. There are some carbohydrates called as non-reducing sugars which do not reduce what? Tollin's reagent and Fehling's solution. Now example for those are glucose and fructose are reducing sugars, whereas sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. Now you may be thinking, why sucrose does not reduce Fehling's and Tollin's reagent? Why glucose and fructose reduce Tollin's and Fehling's reagent? So it's because glucose and fructose, they reduce because they have free aldehydic or ketonic group. It means CHO group in the molecule or ketonic group in the molecule is free. Free means it is not involved in what? Bonding. Right? So if you take non-reducing sugars, they do not have free aldehydic group or ketonic group. Therefore, they are non-reducing sugars. So what does it mean? They are involved in what? Your aldehydic or ketonic group are involved in bonding. Hence, they do not reduce the above said reagents. Based on hydrolysis, the carbohydrates are classified into three types: monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. Here, the word saccharide refers to saccharin, which means sugar. Okay, so they are classified as monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. Now let us look into definition of monosaccharide. So what is a monosaccharide? It is a carbohydrate, right? It is a carbohydrate which cannot be hydrolyzed further, which cannot be broken further to give simpler unit of what? Of polyhydroxyaldehyde or ketone, and such a carbohydrate is called as a monosaccharide. We'll try to understand what do you mean by this sentence. Now, it should have poly OH groups. So I have a carbon here. So your carbohydrate should have what? Should have an aldehydic group or a ketonic group. So you can have ketone in a compound having only 3 carbon atoms. You cannot have a ketone having 2 carbon atoms. It becomes an aldehyde. So the first compound in ketones is acetone, or it is called as propanone. Right. So the first carbohydrate having a ketonic group should have how many carbon atoms? 3. So we shall look here. So it should have either an aldehydic group or a ketonic group, and it should have many OH groups. Many means more than one. So I can write one OH group here, another OH group here, and complete the valency of carbon. Carbon can have how many friends? 4 at a time. So this is 1, 2, 3 and the fourth fellow H here. And here 1, 2 are friends. I need 2 more. So I will write H1 and H2. So this formula will, I think, should obey the above said definition. So it is a carbohydrate which cannot be further hydrolyzed to give simpler unit of polyhydroxyaldehyde or ketone. So if I take an aldehyde having only 2 carbon atoms, okay, I have taken. So CHO, then I will write OH here. Now will this satisfy our definition? You can say, madam, I will write 2 OH groups here. when you have two OH groups here, there is elimination of water molecule. There is removal of water. Understood? So a single carbon atom cannot have two OH groups. So when you cannot have two OH groups, it will no more remain as what? As a monosaccharide. So the first monosaccharide will have how many carbon atoms? It will start with 3 carbon atoms. So remember, a carbon atom cannot have what? 2 OH groups attached to it. Now look at this. So I will write OH here. I shall write OH here. Complete the valency. H2, H2. So this is the first ketone and this is the first carbohydrate having a ketonic group, and this is the first carbohydrate having an aldehydic group. So monosaccharides can be of two types. A monosaccharide having an aldehydic group, monosaccharide having a ketonic group. So monosaccharide having an aldehydic group is called as aldose. Ose refers to suffix given to carbohydrates. Ald refers to aldehydic group. So this should be called as ketose. So monosaccharides can be of two types, aldoses and ketoses. A monosaccharide can also have, so I said it will start with 3 carbon atoms. So number of carbon atoms. If a monosaccharide can have 3 carbon atoms, it can have 4 carbon atoms, it can have 5 carbon atoms, it can have 6 carbon atoms. If a monosaccharide has 3 carbon atoms, then it is called as aldo. How many carbon atoms are there? 3 are there. So triose. Understood? If a monosaccharide has 3 carbon atoms, then it should be called as triose. But if it has an aldehydic group, it should be called as aldotriose. A monosaccharide having an aldehydic group and 4 carbon atoms should be called as, yes, aldo. How many carbon atoms? 4. So tetrose. If it has 5, so it should be aldo pentose. 6. Aldo hexose. Similarly, a monosaccharide having a ketonic group is called as ketose. This ketose can have 3 carbon atoms, 4 carbon atoms, 5, 6, so on and so forth. If it has 3 carbon atoms, it should be called as keto. Very good. Triose. 4 means keto tetrose. 5 carbon atoms means keto pentose. And 6 carbon atom means it should have 6 carbon atoms means it should be called as keto hexose. I hope you have understood. There are around 20 monosaccharides units which are present naturally in nature. So naturally occurring monosaccharides, how many are there? 20 in number. Coming to oligosaccharides. So what are oligosaccharides? They have more than one monosaccharide unit in them. So other way around, we can say they yield 2 to 10 monosaccharide units on hydrolysis. Example, sucrose, which is present in cane sugar, is a disaccharide. A di refers to 2, which gives how many monosaccharide units? It should give you 2 monosaccharide units. Similarly, we have raffinose, which gives us 3 monosaccharide units. So whenever you hydrolyze oligosaccharides, they give you monosaccharides. These monosaccharides can be same. They can be same or they can be different. For example, if I take sucrose. So sucrose gives me 2 monosaccharides which are different. Which are they? Glucose and fructose. If I take maltose, maltose gives me 2 monosaccharide units which are same. And which are they? Glucose. How many glucose units are there? 2. If I take lactose, lactose gives me 2 monosaccharide units which are different. And which are they? Glucose and galactose. Understood? So what are oligosaccharides? They have more than 1 monosaccharide units which are joined with each other. How? By glycosidic bond. Done. And these on hydrolysis will give you simpler units, that is monosaccharide units. And how these monosaccharide units can be? They can be same or they can be different. Example, if you take sucrose, sucrose will give me how many monosaccharide units? 2 monosaccharide units. And how are they? They are different from each other. And which are they? Glucose and fructose. If I take maltose, a disaccharide, so it will give you 2 monosaccharide units which are same. And which are they? 2 glucose units. If you take lactose, it will give me how many monosaccharide units? 2. And how are they? They are different from each other. Which are they? Glucose and galactose. This part is very, very important. Coming to the last part of classification. Based on what? Hydrolysis. Based on hydrolysis, we had seen they are classified into monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. So what are polysaccharides? These are the carbohydrates which yield large number of what? Monosaccharide units on what? On hydrolysis. They are called as polysaccharides. Example, glycogen. So glycogen is stored in animals. Okay, excess of food is stored in animals in the form of glycogen. And hence it is called as animal starch. You need to remember this, very important from CET point of view. And starch which is present in plants. So glycogen, starch are what? Are both polysaccharides. And how about cotton? Cotton is also a polysaccharide. Okay. So can you differentiate between glycogen and starch? They ask. So if you react starch with iodine, that is plant starch, it will give blue color. If the same iodine is treated with glycogen, then it will give you red color. So starch, whether it is animal starch or plant starch, if you want to differentiate, you have to treat it with what? Iodine. So with iodine, plant starch gives which color? Blue color. And animal starch gives red color. And cotton. Cotton contains which polysaccharide? Cellulose. Cellulose. And it cannot be digested by humans because cellulase enzyme is absent in our body, but it can be digested by other animals because cellulase enzyme is present in them, right? So in the next class we shall look into the structure of glucose and the elucidation of structure of glucose. Thank you.